Welcome back, Mastercraft of Gaming fans. Kyle here from Mini Wargaming in Welland, Ontario. I'm here to film a 3rd edition battle report with Luca and do kind of an enticing video to get some people to come on over to the Kings of War love side. But today, I'm bringing you Nightstalkers in 3rd edition Kings of War. Let's start off with Scarecrows, and this is the frontline unit for the Nightstalkers. These guys saw some pretty big changes just because they no longer have shambling. In fact, the entire Nightstalker army no longer has shambling. They've replaced this with Wild Charge D3 and reduced their speed to 4. So this is a pretty noticeable change because they're going to get a little bit more movement. They're moving as fast as dwarves now, yes, but with Wild Charge, and if you take them in the larger, block sizes and things like that, it should be fairly usable. I will be using them in my battle reports when you guys see that soon. So I'm excited for them. I actually think this is a really nice change. Wild Charge on them is nice. They were meant to get in the way in the first place, so not having shambling and them getting tied up is a pretty big deal. In a recent blog post, Martin brought up the Soul Flayers, which are the new Nightmares, and I really like them, so I'm not going to show them off, though, because we've already shown them off. Let's take a look at the Fiends instead. One common issue with Nightstalkers and what they ran into in 2nd edition was that their nerve gap was a little too high, so they had that 3-point waiver value. They were like trolls all over the place. Well, it's much more common now. In fact, I think there's only one unit that has a 3-point waiver gap in Nightstalkers, so the Fiends have gone from 15 18 to 16, 18, and I think that's a really nice nerve value for a cavalry unit of any type. So they still maintain their same offensive profile, but their nerve is just a little bit more solid. They've still got the incredible speed to them, and for not that much of a points change. So seeing all the other combat units that are out there and seeing this unit still remain mostly the same is a very encouraging thing. And then they're going to go really well with some other units that the Nightstalkers have in their monster and hero slots, which I will show you now. The Screech had a very specific role in 2nd edition. It had a tremendous amount of shots that were hard to get off because it was only height 2, crazy piercing on it, and this thing has been reworked entirely. So I'm really excited to show it off. It is a monster still, so that doesn't change, but its profile does quite a bit. So now it flies, as the model actually implies. It's got Nimble and Pathfinder, which are really nice to get it into places that you need it to go. And then it now has 3 spell options. So with Lightning Bolt, Wind Blast, and Mind Fog, it has a very specific role. Big change though, it's now height 5, so it can see over your basic height 2 infantry without any kind of cover penalty, and this thing is going to be great to screen with Scarecrows or Spectres or that sort of thing, and snipe characters with. I mean, that's a totally usable thing, and I think that's fantastic. And then the points, look at the points, because it was almost unusable at 230 points. It was a really hard pill to swallow for just a monster and a really crowded monster spot in this list. So this is a change that I absolutely love. Some people might not like it because they liked what it did as a nutcracker with the piercing 3, 12 attacks, that kind of thing, but this to me makes so much more sense because when you look at the Wind Blast options that the Soul Flayers have, the Banshee, that sort of thing, all of a sudden Nightstalkers are starting to show how they are intended to be played. Like I said before, a lot of units lost their shambling special rule, and I think the one that I lament the most on is the Terror. And the Terror is one that just because of the way that it was, you could really fit into bases or tight spaces much easier and get that surge off into a flank. It is now exclusively a Titan, which is a noticeable change from where it was at the beginning of 2nd edition. This is something that has changed in its attack profile as well, where there are 10 attacks, but it has crushing strength 2. And in playtesting, this found that it worked out pretty much the same from where it did in 2nd with 15 attacks and only crushing strength 1. The only place it's going to hurt you obviously is on lower end units, but now it has a little bit more of a focused role. The other big change to it that I love is Strider, because this thing, it doesn't make much sense that, walls or fence posts would slow it down. It's a massive undulating mass of tentacles and nastiness. So really nice change because I think it maintains its offensive power. The Ensnare, the regeneration is a great anchor for it. So has a real nice place in the list, and the points are still roughly the same, so it all still makes sense. And I think it's going to be something that's a staple in my army because I've never found it to be ineffective. I could spend an entire video just going over the hero slots and the monster slots and Nightstalkers, which we all know are the most popular. I am going to focus on 2 more though. First, we will take a look at the Banshee because I love what we're doing with her. She essentially has 2 spell profiles now. She's got Wind Blast and Enthrall, and the thing that makes hers unique is that she's got the ability to roll for damage for each successful casting of those spells. So we've seen Wind Blast on the Soul Flayers, we've seen Wind Blast on the Screech, and then we've seen Wind Blast on the Banshee. She also has Dread now, which is a great way to use her and get her in those nooks and crannies. You'll find that Dread is a very common rule in the Nightstalker army list. I really enjoy Enthrall and Windblast both because you can just mess with your opponent so much. I really, with Enthrall, you really wish that Windblast was still an option, but at the same time, I think that she's got a lot of flexibility, and having Dread makes it so that she can get into tight places when those two spells become less effective, or you wouldn't want to cast them. Dread still is relevant. Last, and I have to show this off because I gotta give you the sales pitch. Go get the diorama in the collector's bundle. Let's look at the Dream Hunter. So this is a model who I'm really excited that we came out with one, first of all, and it's going to have a really nice roll. So in second edition, it didn't quite hit that well. It did have a decent number of attacks, but hitting on 4s made it kind of meh. Life Leech boost was nice, but it also didn't really fit with the army unless you were taking it with Reapers and that sort of thing, and the different Clash of Kings upgrades. This is a little bit of a relook. So what we've done with him is changed his melee stat to 3+, dropped the attacks by 1. I think that's a really fair change. The crushing strength is all still there, so this is a really nice, almost vampire-esque profile in this guy. It really makes sense for a living legend. And then also that special rule down there where any combat that he is also engaged in, the units that are with him gain the elite special rule. So you'll see something in a blog post soon that the Nightstalkers are getting where the Horror also gives a nice benefit. The Horror is probably one of the best units in the Nightstalker list right now, but I'm distracted. I love these guys. He is fantastic. Dread, Elite. Yeah, I mean, you'll see this is a common theme. The heroes and Nightstalkers can do a lot of work for your entire force, and I'm really excited about it. So I'm excited to be here. I'm at a great place that's loving wargaming, and happy to run through the weekend. We're going to do some specials with the locals here in Canada tonight or on Friday night, and get them down to play some games, do some demos, and check out a little bit of 3rd edition. So hope you guys are enjoying these. We've got only a couple left to go. So I think Nature and Goblins are next week. So stay tuned.